adjustments he made.
Pounding on Golovkin. Hooks to the head. Golovkin is wobbled. Good defensive work. And he fires. Let's go to the tail of the tape. Gennady Golovkin getting ready for the main event. He is 37 years of age.
The warrior who dared to face Gennady Golovkin in the ring met with utter devastation. On October 5, 2019, Madison Square Garden in New York became the battleground for an unforgettable night of boxing, headlined by a high-stakes clash between two proud warriors from the former Soviet Union. Kazakhstan's Gennady Golovkin stepped through the ropes with one mission: to reclaim the IBF middleweight world title from Ukraine's relentless Sergei Derevianchenko. What many expected to be a routine triumph for Golovkin quickly spiraled into a punishing war, where every round became a test of will and survival. The bout teetered dangerously on the edge, threatening to dismantle the very legacy he had fought so hard to build, but to understand the gravity of that night, we must rewind to 2018. At 37, Golovkin still loomed large over the middleweight landscape, but time was no longer his ally. A new generation of hungry contenders was on the rise, and the scars of two savage battles with Canelo Alvarez still lingered. The first clash ended in a controversial draw, one that etched Golovkin's name deeper into boxing lore while exposing the physical toll of standing toe-to-toe with the elite.
Right through it. Puts him back against the ropes. It's been a great first half of the ninth round. Hard right hand by Golovkin. And another one. Golovkin finishing the slow rally.
Officially a draw.
Lands for Triple G.
Good body shot by Canelo at the same time.
Alvarez lands power shots and rear six brawl. Shot. Golovkin with a right hand.
New WBC, WBA.
Golovkin had lost it all: his championship belts, his undefeated record, and perhaps something even deeper within himself. But fate, ever unpredictable, offered him a path to redemption. When Canelo Alvarez vacated the IBF title, a new opportunity emerged, a chance for Golovkin to reclaim at least a fragment of his former glory. Standing in his way was Sergei Derevianchenko, a name that didn't strike fear on paper, but reality proved otherwise. At first glance, it seemed like a straightforward task for the seasoned Triple G. But the ring has a way of shattering illusions. So who was Sergei Derevianchenko, really? Far from being just another challenger, he was a battle-tested Ukrainian warrior with an elite pedigree. With over 400 amateur bouts, an Olympic background, and victories in top-tier international competitions, Derevianchenko brought far more than his record suggested. Known for his unyielding toughness, sharp technical prowess, and relentless pressure, he wasn't just a test, he was a storm waiting to erupt. And on that night, he would push Golovkin to the very brink. In 2018, Derevianchenko had already stepped onto the world stage, battling Daniel Jacobs for the IBF title in a fiercely contested bout. Though the judges awarded Jacobs the victory, many felt Derevianchenko had been robbed a razor-close decision that left a lingering sense of injustice.
We've given New York another classic to
Daniel, Miracle Man!
Heading into the clash with Golovkin, Derevianchenko was a man on a mission. His narrow and controversial loss to Daniel Jacobs had only fueled his fire, sharpening his focus, toughening his resolve, and transforming him into a more dangerous fighter than ever before. He fine-tuned his training, reworked his game plan, and left no flaw unaddressed. This was his second shot at a world title, and he wasn't just hoping to rise to the occasion, he was ready to fight tooth and nail to claim what he believed was rightfully his. Golovkin, on the other hand, no longer looked like the indomitable force fans had come to expect. At the weigh-in, he appeared pale and gaunt, the spark that once defined him seemed dimmed. On fight night, his movements lacked their usual snap, his punches didn't carry the same menace as if the weight cut had drained more than just water from his body. The warning signs were there for all to see, but most brushed them aside. In hindsight, they were impossible to miss.
Still among the elite. We're underway, round one, here at the Garden.
The opening round unfolded just as many had predicted. Golovkin wasted no time asserting his power, dropping Derevianchenko to the canvas with a crisp, pinpoint right hook to the head.
7.2 pounds. Into the second. Down he goes. The uppercut. Starts the free fall.
Moments later, Golovkin carved open a savage cut above Derevianchenko's right eye, and for a brief instant, it looked like the end was near. One or two more punishing rounds, and the ringside doctor would have no choice but to call it off. But something wasn't right. Golovkin's movements grew heavy, his punches lost their trademark snap, and the usual venom in his combination seemed to fade. Between exchanges, his expression said it all, a mix of confusion and frustration, silently echoing the question, asterisk, why can't I finish him?
Used to have success with the jab, and now firing off a combination on Triple G. Good body work by Derevianchenko. He goes to the body again with the right hand. He's been very effective, and he goes to the head. So much, yeah. I mean, they've got to hope. I mean, the first time we saw it, we wondered too, could it be? We are starting to hear word. There's a possibility that
expect this to be a really big and interesting round right here. Derevianchenko's fighter.
Final minute of the second round. Another lead hook and a body shot by Triple G. Could end any minute.
Golovkin's not having a great night, but Derevianchenko, he fought really.
Jabbing consistently. Golovkin that time with a three-punch.
Your eyebrows down. I mean, your eyelashes.
He's got to keep the guard up as well, and his right hand up there. Derevianchenko still effective with the jab.
I love those body shots by Derevianchenko and getting the angle on Golovkin.
He's going to work.
To the shock of everyone watching, Derevianchenko refused to let the gruesome cut slow him down. Instead, he turned the fight into a savage, unrelenting war, one unlike anything Golovkin had ever experienced, not even in his brutal clashes with Canelo or Jacobs. From rounds 3 to 5, Derevianchenko took command, unleashing a non-stop barrage of pressure, crowding Golovkin with blistering combinations and fighting with the desperation of a man who knew the fight could be stopped at any moment. It wasn't just survival, it was domination. Meanwhile, Golovkin looked unrecognizably out of sorts, bewildered and overwhelmed by the furious onslaught he couldn't seem to contain.
But he is starting to bleed there, and there's a hook off the
Fighters have had success against Golovkin. Get him the inside, bang him in the body, and back him up.
That cut becomes basically a target, doesn't it? I mean, that's what you're aiming for every single time you go to the head.
You tear that
As a boxer, fighting with a cut is kind of a skill, isn't it?
good combination by Derevianchenko. Fighting on fire. He needs fire, and there should be no greater motivation than right here with this man.
Good body shots, counter body shots. I want to see a lot more of that. Yes, he has, and I love seeing that. That's the only way you beat Golovkin. You got to take him to the
Championship 12. I mean, he is just methodical and powerful.
Not great that you can survive the entire fight with that type of cut.
To his right now. Again, they get through this round, and at least we wouldn't expect that. So he's got to get some rounds to the bank if he hopes to win. And he is already in the hole. Jab in boxing. Lands over 30% of his jabs in there.
This is going to be an interesting round right here.
Got everything going against him so far as he lands a shot to the body.
Thank you, BK. We had a chance to speak to Roger.
He doesn't even have to wind up to hit you hard. You know, it looks like he's just placing his shots, and he can do damage.
I love Golovkin. He had some good success. Landed an overhand right on Golovkin. Which is what you're supposed to do. Back up the monster and go to the body.
Golovkin now.
I love the way Derevianchenko has responded to adversity. He gets some success with his combinations, and it starts with a body punching, making Golovkin miss just like that.
3 more good jabs. Cut back.
And I think it will get worse as Golovkin with that jab.
As he hits him again, then right hand after the jab as well.
That does change. Now they go to this.
Been managed by Derevianchenko's corner. Derevianchenko has the advantage, especially earlier on with that hard hook.
Weigh-in at the 170-pound limit, the second-day weigh-in. Had to strip down to
There are a number of doctors up there on the ring apron. His offense is just tight, Sergio. Look at that. And hard shots to the body. Golovkin is wobbled. Golovkin looks it. He's got rhythm. Golovkin will try to take it away. The championship.
By the midpoint of the fight, Golovkin began to find flashes of his old rhythm, managing to land heavier, more telling shots even through Derevianchenko's high, disciplined guard. But the Ukrainian wouldn't back down. He absorbed the punishment and fired back with unshakable resolve, refusing to let the momentum slip. From round 6 onward, the bout transformed into a razor-thin contest, with some observers giving Golovkin a slight edge on the scorecards. On paper, the final 3 rounds were where the veteran should have asserted his dominance and sealed the win. But boxing, as always, had other ideas.
And then comes back with a hook to the head. Just good first. These judges are looking at this so closely, and these are difficult rounds to score. Chris, and I think that's a natural thought, given that there was Golovkin is just not reacting to it. And Maybe the judges can as well. Derevyanchenko goes.
Golovkin took 2 deep breaths right now. I don't know if those body shots are
Coming out aggressive, and he's just going to have to show more. Came up short, starts to have success. Derevyanchenko comes back, beautiful uppercut.
BK, I just had a quick chat with Jonathan Banks. There's sense of urgency in this corner.
Level of his sickness, if he was ill, just not feeling great. A little less start.
This fight, it could be stopped at any time.
Good point. Good point. Doctors are going to take. And Gennady Golovkin pull this out. He is being
Didn't finish what I was saying earlier about how Golovkin is physically. He did miss the first ring.
is outstanding. Straight up the middle with the right hand comes Golovkin.
And make sure that he can finish off the rounds.
And he started shooting. Derevyanchenko the last 3 rounds has had an edge in power shots. 45 buckled him. That was buckled for Golovkin. You just wonder who has the deeper reservoir. It's incredible.
And if he gets just one more round, he could win a decision.
Gennady Golovkin has done outstanding work here in this fight. And that body shot, again, that was a wounded Triple G. We've rarely good rounds. Golovkin has had success as well. These are tough rounds.
70 pounds. That's unusual for Gennady Golovkin. So could it forebode something in his
Taken away from him. And now we go to work. Derevyanchenko just missed with the hook. Is solid, straight up the middle, with his hooks, with his right hands, and with that ever-present jab. The jab and following up the right hand. Suddenly things change to the head by Derevyanchenko. He has had a tremendous fighting spirit in this fight. Again, he had every reason. That right hand was blocked. That one as well. Crowd is
One thing about Golovkin, he has never been a prolific body puncher.
And they're throwing hard body shots at every turn. It digs to the body expected. Although we should learn in this building that can happen.
That's what Derevyanchenko and Andre Rozier expected.
Jab. Again, I mentioned he's got the most accurate jab in the game, but he is being out-jabbed in this fight. Hard right hand.
But in the 10th and championship rounds, running on sheer willpower, Derevyanchenko surged forward once more. Exhausted but undeterred, he stood toe-to-toe with the once-feared middleweight juggernaut, overwhelming Golovkin with suffocating pressure and giving him no room to reset, no air to breathe. The crowd erupted, sensing the shift. And then from the front row a voice cut through the noise like a blade, asterisk, Golovkin is fading. Asterisk.
Derevyanchenko fires back straight up the middle. 3 jabs in a row. Combinations.
That's key. And that was game plan and strategy on Andre Rozier.
Trying to empty the tank. But they're trying. Straight up the middle. Golovkin's left cheek is reddened and starting to puff up.
This is their last chance. Sergey Derevyanchenko is fighting like he knows this is his last chance.
He has put it. Well, they think they could be behind, Chris, and I think that's a natural thought given that there was.
One thing this reminds me of, Brian, if you go back to the spring of 2018,
Official scorecard for us. A lot of these rounds, Chris, is it fair to say, could swing either way?
Several of them.
Straight up, Derevyanchenko has to take a big gulp of air. He had the one big shot against Daniel Jacobs. He fought well, but came up short. He starts to have success. Derevyanchenko comes back. Beautiful uppercut.
Sergey Derevyanchenko is going through the cut.
won too many of them decisively.
I mean, they've got to be thrilled with the work. Derevyanchenko has been terrific. Up against a severe test here tonight. Trilogy would be looming. This could certainly derail that. See the eye is closed up. Good uppercut by Golovkin to open up round 9. They get right at it. The punch, evident. I believe he does think that, right?
I think he believes
And they will just go to the judges' cards at the end of 12 rounds. Right now, Chris Mannix is giving even nods to him, showing him the respect. Sergio just short and hard. Golovkin fires back. Now with the running up. With DAZN, has his own promotional company, getting into a long-term deal with the...
He cut him jabbing towards the left eye. All these adjustments he made, now he got to just let his hands go more.
Pounding on Golovkin. Hooks to the head. Golovkin is wobbled. The crowd is behind Golovkin. Golovkin is firing now. Derevyanchenko, good defensive work. And he fires.
Throw his hands. What kind of reaction do you get from him?
So tight. Again, those punches. The jab, right hand, straight up the middle.
We've ever seen. What type of reaction are you getting out of him?
Sergio, I think Canelo Alvarez set a bit of a blueprint. That if you can take these punches, you can throw a lot more back.
Nation work, backing up Golovkin, not forgetting the body. Just incredible stuff.
This is a man who's 33 years old. He fires back with a jab and a right hand. Wow, Derevyanchenko coming right back. All together. Boxing beautifully throughout the night. Look at him fire back again. Every time Golovkin starts.
Extremely tight rounds. I don't think they can be truly comfortable that they've won two.
Another fire.
Golovkin had an opportunity to fight Derevyanchenko when Canelo dropped out of that fight.
Important to note, final minute of this fight. Derevyanchenko.
Bloody, bruised, knocked down.
Fires a right hand over the top. Straight up the middle.
Thank you, Brian. Coach Rozier, how do you see this fight developing?
Golovkin, though, heart of a champion. Hall of Famer, Sergey Derevyanchenko. 35 knockouts in his 39 wins. Final 30 seconds. Let's see what they got. Uppercut by Golovkin. Derevyanchenko has him on the ropes. Now they spin out.
As the final bell rang through Madison Square Garden, the crowd erupted into a standing ovation. This had been an absolute war. Despite the brutal cut and unrelenting punishment, Derevyanchenko had delivered the fight of his life, pushing Golovkin to the very brink. The arena was electric with anticipation, and one question lingered in the air. Had Golovkin just suffered his first defeat? After a tense wait, the judges delivered their verdict, a razor-thin decision in favor of Gennady Golovkin. But as his hand was raised, his battered and swollen face told a different story. Deep down, he knew this had been one of the hardest, most grueling nights of his career. So, what do you think, fight fans? Did Triple G truly deserve the win, or had Derevyanchenko done enough to claim victory? Drop your thoughts in the comments.